Well, hey everybody, grace and peace. Welcome to Find the Intersection. My name is Paul Dezay. I'm the pastor of Sandy Hook United Methodist Church here in Columbus, Indiana. And this guy, right over, backwards there, that's George. He's my sheep for this day. So the reason why we have a sheep on the screen, we are reading the scriptures, preparing ourselves for the fourth Sunday of Easter. And the fourth Sunday of Easter every year is the Good Shepherd Sunday. And so this week, the intersection that we search for between the four lectionary passages is given to us up front. This is Good Shepherd Sunday, so we know we're going to be talking about the Good Shepherd. Hey, welcome to Find the Intersection. Today we're going to be talking about two passages, so let me get rid of my name here and put up the chart. It covers up George a little bit, but I don't think he minds. So this is the chart we work from each week. We have the four lectionary passages for this coming Sunday around the corners. Mondays, we always read the gospel passage, so that's John 10, 11 to 18. And then Tuesday, we read the New Testament passage. Wednesday, we're in the bottom left, typically is Old Testament, but during Easter season or Eastertide, we are in the book of Acts. And then Thursday is the Psalm. And then obviously we're in the 23rd Psalm, the Lord is my shepherd, this Thursday. And Friday, we come back together and we do the intersections. We find the threads and the intersections that run through these four passages. So I'm super excited about talking about what that Good Shepherd means to our lives this week. Anyway, so let's go ahead and talk about Monday's passage, yesterday's passage, John chapter 10, 11 to 18. This is the Good Shepherd passage. And verse number 11 says, I am the Good Shepherd. The Good Shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. And so that's kind of the core of this passage, is that Jesus is the Good Shepherd. And he lays his life down for the sheep. The sheep is Israel and the people of Israel, and he's willing to sacrifice himself for the benefit of the sheep. Now, he says he's the good shepherd, but there's some bad shepherds. In Ezekiel chapter 34, there's this reference where the leaders of Israel were bad shepherds. They were like hired hands, and they really didn't care for the sheep. And Jesus mentions that. And so Jesus is comparing himself, the good shepherd, the Tov shepherd, to bad shepherds that are all around. And, you look at the Pharisees and Sadducees and the priests and all that. They're not taking care of the least of these. And Jesus has come to show love, not just for the rich and the wealthy, but for everybody and for those in the margins. And so he lays his life down for all people. And that's what the Good Shepherd is all about. So if you don't consider yourself a good person, if you consider yourself kind of the least of these or on the margins or not good enough, that love extends to you and extends to me. Isn't that good? So this passage immediately takes place after the healing of a blind man in the last chapter, in which I think is significant because people were challenging Jesus on whether or not this blind man had sinned. And so Jesus kind of moves from that conversation with the religious leaders into this dialogue about good and bad shepherds. The shepherd lays down his life. The shepherd knows his sheep, and the sheep know him, know his voice. So that's the good shepherd. He lays down his life. He knows his sheep, and the sheep know him. They know his voice. And then he talks about other sheep, which we are going to make an assumption being Gentiles. The other sheep are the Gentiles. If the sheep is the people of Israel, then these other sheep would be the Gentiles, other people. So Jesus came not just for Israel, Jesus came for all people. All people, ALL, capitals, flashing lights, exclamation point, all people. There's no one outside of all people. Jesus came for all people. And so for us today as Gentiles, I'm a Gentile. The question that I have is who are the rejected? Who are those that are on the outside, the other sheep in today's world? Whose are those that don't have access to the gospel or are excluded from the gospel? Who are people that Christians tend to distance themselves from? And so that's a great question for us today. So that's Monday's passage. Today's passage is 1 John chapter 3, verses 16 to 24. And I love this passage because it gives us a definition of love. If you ever wanted to know what love truly is, John, we're going to assume here that the John that wrote the Good Shepherd passage is the same John who is writing this letter in 1 John. He defines the love that God shows us and then calls us to love one another. Let's find it here. It says, this, verse 16, this is how we know love. Jesus laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay our lives down for our brothers and sisters. So the definition of love is Jesus on the cross. That is love. Cruciform love. Cross-shaped love. So love, in John's mind, the love that God loves us with and the love that we are to love one another in Christian community and extension to all people, is the same love that caused Jesus to lay down his life on the cross for us. That is love. That is the picture of agape love that is at the heart of the commandment of God to love God with our everything and love our neighbor as we love ourselves. That is love. Cruciform, cross-shaped, sacrificial love. And love is of God. That's who God is. God is love. God is this sacrificial love. That is his essence. And then also love is an action. Love is something we do. And so in this case, the commandment of John is for us to love one another with that same kind of love. And so if somebody's in need, we meet that need because that's what love does, right? Great book, right? Love does, right? So anyway, love is action-oriented. Love is costly. It costs us something. It costs us something. It costs us time. It costs us money. It costs us comfort. It costs us something. Jesus died to show us the love that we are called to love with. Beautiful, right? Love is a way of life. It isn't just something we do once. It's something we do every day. It's a way of life. And so how does the church today lay down our life for others? How do we, as Christ followers, as disciples of Jesus, lay down our life for one another? Those are the thoughts that I have for today. And you can see the overlap between these two passages. You see that Jesus laid down his life as the Good Shepherd, and love is laying down your life for one another. So we see that the Good Shepherd demonstrated the love that we are to love one another with. In comparison to bad shepherds, bad leaders, bad religious people, bad pastors, who demonstrate something less than, who really don't take care of the sheep, who are more like hired people who are doing it for a paycheck, who really don't care for the people that they're called to serve. And so that's a challenge to every Christian leader out here, including myself, to say, hey, we're called to love the way that Christ loves us. That's what I got for today. That's what I got for yesterday. Hope that is helpful to you. If you would do me a favor and share with me your thoughts on these two passages. I want to learn from you. And we'll be back tomorrow to talk about Acts chapter 4, verses 5 to 12. And then on Thursday, Psalm 23. And then Friday, we'll put it all together and see where things overlap and intersect. And that'll be cool. All right. Hey, have a great week, everyone. Grace and peace to you.